get myself organized here. Mustache is being particularly friendly today. He likes my nose. Hey, Loco Joe. Wayne. Who else we got here? Trevor does weird things. Exhausted. I taught banjo all last week at the John C. Campbell Folk School over in Brasstown, North Carolina. So I got my practice in, though. I did. I practiced a lot of fundamentals this past week. So it's good to be home. It's good to be back home. I either need bigger print or better eyes, one or the other. Let's see if I can see what's going on. Mostly, Dwayne, yeah, that's my 85. And yeah, I'm tuned low. I actually put a heavier set of strings on here so I could do all those neat sounds. Man, you ought to do that. Now that you have a spare banjo, you could have a low-tuned banjo. So it just gives you something else to explore. Hey to everyone that has said hello to me. I'm trying to keep up. Tennessee stud. This is banjo, right? You're familiar with Doc Watson, obviously, and it's just not a tune that I really play on the banjo. It just never comes up. So there's you some Tennessee stud. Yeah, it's not a tune that I play. Am I? Yeah, so it's open D, but down from G. So yeah, it's. I think I'm D. Somebody tell me. I don't know. It may be D, but I think it is. So it's fun, and it's great. It's great for me because of my voice. Sir, will I Lester flat and Earl Scruggs? No, I will not Lester, and I will not Earl. But I might play some of their stuff. But right now I'm kind of tuned a little different. But with it in this tuning, it suits my voice to sing, and that's the reason Hartford did it. He did it so it was easier for him to sing. Let's see what song I can sing. Well, the first time I saw Dixie was in a parking lot in Denver. I was sitting in my pickup truck alone. Came out of the store, took one look at my truck. She asked me if I'd like to take her home. She said she had a new place, but we went to her old place, 'cause there was something she forgot to do. One hug and one kiss later, she unplugged the refrigerator. That's when I learned I was helping Dixie move. So it's kind of cool to, and that was a true story. But it fits my voice pretty well. Let's see. Learn to play because of me. Hey, thanks for trusting a stranger on the internet to help you learn to play the banjo. Trev, I mean, you can play and sing at the same time. The best advice I can give you regarding that. So do something with your right hand that you know that you can do without thinking about it. If it's just a roll, and then you just put your chords with it. Well, the first time I saw Dixie was in a parking lot in Denver. I was sitting in my pickup truck alone. She came out of the store, took one look at my truck, asked me if I'd like to take her home. Because you should be able to do these rolls without, you should be able to have a conversation and do this, just like you do walking. You can talk to your friends as you walk. And so these rolls ought to be every bit that automatic. So you got to practice picking more. And then you got to practice playing and singing. Excuse me. It's not something you're just going to be able to do. You're going to have to work at it. I mean, people say, oh, I can't do it. And my answer to that is yet. You can't do it yet because you tried it once and it's like, oh, I can't do that. Well, when you tried to play the banjo, could you just immediately do it? No, you had to practice. So you got to do the same thing with singing. You got to do the same thing. Can't yet. You can't yet. You have to practice. Hey, Tommy. Hey, man. How are you, dude? Let's see. All right. Choosing the right key for your voice. Yeah, I mean, you have to find a key that works. Now, the way I do that is I just start singing. Oh, the first time I saw Dixie was in a parking lot in Denver. And then I start looking for the key that fits my voice. And sometimes I'll have to adjust a little bit, but yeah, I start out with the voice and then find the key. That makes it easier. You're playing Steamboat Airplane. Yeah, that was fun to do the TV show. I had a blast doing that. Good folks up there. Intro to Many Miles. Nope, don't know the song. That would require me to learn a song. And I'm just picking today. But so as far as the Q&A portion of this, the answer to that is probably no. I don't know it. Uh, David, thanks, man. You know, I'm I'm not for everyone. I mean, I realize that, but it's I am so glad that I can help you. Montgomery, I am tuned down to D. I put a set of extra heavy gauge strings on this, and I am tuned down to a D. David, yeah, for the most part, like when you get to the Dirty 30s, their RKH-05, that's a really good banjo. I like it. I wish the Dirty 30s open backs were a little nicer than they are, but they are what they are. But the trade-off is they're cheap, so you can get one fairly inexpensively. But starting with RKH-05 and up, those are fine. So I think, you know, if like $400 range, you can get into that one. I think about $600 you get into the Songster, the RK20. But if you want a good solid banjo that you'll never have to replace, start with RK35. I've still got mine. I love it. I love the thing. I still play it. I played it this week. String to string for D, I have no idea. I mean, I tuned it by ear, so that's a D. So my third string is the D. So, y'all, I do this stuff by ear, y'all. Hang on, I will get a tuner, and then we will determine what they are. Hold on. I'm coming back. Y'all are asking me stuff. Y'all think I know anything about music theory? I do not. I just know how to work my banjo. That's about the extent of it. Tuner. So that's a D. We'll get in real fine tuning here. That's an F sharp. This should be an A. And the fourth string should be an A. And the fifth string should be a D. So D, A, D, F sharp, A. And just for reference, folks, this is question and answer, not pretend like Jim's a jukebox. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I'm just here to answer banjo questions. So, and, you know, I guess a question could be, hey, will you play? And but that's kind of not why I'm here. Let's see. Bjorn, you are so right. And just as I said that, as I had, can you play Whole World Round by the Dillards? No. Hey, Greg, thanks, man. Thanks for being a patron on my Patreon. I really appreciate it. It helps, helps feed the cats and keep the lights on and all that stuff. David, I know Woe Mule, if that's what you're talking about. Low GT, yeah. I put heavier gauge strings on it. So like my third string is a 22, which is normally what would be on the fourth string. So yeah. So 22, 13. It's an 11 or a 12 on the first string. So 25 or 26 on the four, and another 11 or 12 on the fifth. I can roll and I can play melodies, but have issues playing my melodies with the correct rolls. There's no such thing as a correct roll. So here, do this. If you've been through my beginner series, and you can play Cripple Cripple. Take Cripple Creek. You know the song. Going up Cripple Creek, going in a run. Going up Cripple Creek to have a little fun. Going up Cripple Creek, going in a whirl. Going up Cripple Creek to see my girl. If you know the song, now, you've learned it with alternating rolls. Stop using them. Use a different roll. Use a forward and reverse roll. That's your homework. That's for you to figure out. It can be done. I promise you. I would not suggest it otherwise. Find another way to play Cripple Creek, but don't use an alternating roll. Let's say, for whatever reason, your brain forgot how to do an alternating roll, but you still want to play Cripple Creek. You can do it with other rolls. So that's a good practice thing. And then part of like coming up with a break to a song is you definitely you're looking for bits of the melody that make most sense. So like in my go-to demo is like Blue Ridge Cabin Home. There's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. But and you could play that for your break. That's kind of boring. But if you try to put rolls with that, it's going to be a little weird. Now you could try to put a string. I'm just playing a melody note in the first string and getting most of my melody notes. If you want to add more roll, then you're going to have to throw away some of the melody notes. But it's still enough. And so like in a jam, if you were playing a song that you've never played before, yes, absolutely, you are just going to roll over the chords with chords, There's a on this where I wandered was a lad. And it'll be okay. And eventually you'll find rolls that work. I used to just make a decision. I would say, okay, for part of the song, I'm going to do forward and reverse rolls. And when I change chords, I would do an alternating roll. And when I change chords again, I'm going to do forward and reverse. And when I go back to open, I'm going to play alternating roll. have the makings of a break. I have a recording, and if you poke around on my channel, I think the title of the video is I Was Only 15. And you will hear me play Fox on the Run. And it just boils down to me playing forward and reverse rolls over chord changes. But it works. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Hey, Joseph. Pleasure meeting you. Guy, yeah, it's nice to have a low tune banjo, right? What books do I recommend? All of them. I don't know. As far as instruction books go, I don't know that I actually have a favorite instruction book, but here's some books I'm not real crazy about. Hal Leonard has a beginning banjo series that I'm not super crazy about, but you know, I think if you stick with it, you know, and learn everything in the book, you will learn stuff. The Jack Hatfield books are pretty good. Jeff Howald's instruction, his banjo primer book is pretty good, but you got to go from beginning to end. Janet Davis's You Can Teach Yourself Banjo book is good, but you got to do all of it, and you have to understand as you're doing it that it's not. Don't flip to the back of the book. Understand what's being taught in each little lesson. Pete Warnick's book is pretty good too. So, any tips for playing up the neck? Yeah, the first thing you need to do before you really travel up the neck much is and this is going to get you up the neck, you've got to start finding all your chords. So you find all your G chords. So you find your G, that's sloppy, G. So find all your G's, then find all your C's. Find all your D's. So start finding your chords. And then maybe look at a couple of videos that I've got. Cumberland Gap. Start with Cumberland Gap. That has an up the neck break. Cumberland Gap is usually probably the first song that I teach that has any, like the private students, that has any up the neck work. Let's see. Jerry, no, this is not the 76, it's the 85, it's Maple. And intonation's a little weird. We'll deal with that later. Blake, by the time you need an intermediate backup course, you should be able to figure those licks out yourself. See, I have, so here you've hit on something that is part of my learning philosophy and part of what I want to see happen for y'all. Is as an intermediate player, and especially as an advanced player, you shouldn't need anybody showing you how to do anything. You should be able to figure those things out. The things that I cover in my backup videos will last you for a very long time, and then you're going to get to a point where you're just grabbing licks and stuff. And I may have a few like lick type things out there that I teach. I do teach some of those things, and honest to goodness, that's pretty much all I ever do when playing backup. I don't do anything fancy. because it's backup. SJ Woodworks, yeah, I wasn't expecting it either, but there it is. All right, so if you learned the 3 songs from my beginner series, you missed the point. You totally missed the point. See, I didn't teach you 3 songs. In those 10 lessons, I taught you a pile of right and left hand techniques that you can apply to any song that you want to play ever. They're not individual island of songs. They are, I used songs to teach you techniques. So I have a playlist called Learn These Next. Just go out to the playlist, pick something that you want to figure out, and now start figuring out tunes. If you're just memorizing tunes, you're missing the point. Don't memorize this stuff. Assimilate it. Get it in your head to where you're not, we're not reading this off a page. This is not paint by number. This is not pick by number. So take all of that stuff that I did in my 10 lessons and use it. All of that pulls apart. So this thing in Cripple Creek, we can use it anywhere. There's a well-beaten path on this. And then the forward and reverse roll in Bull and Cabbage Down. Oh, mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. So all of that stuff that we learned in the beginner series, it wasn't songs. It was techniques to use later. So learn these next. Let's see. James, yeah, you can do anything you want to. If you want to play dueling banjos by yourself, you can totally do that. And if you poke around my channel, you might actually see me. Not here, but if you found me on TikTok, you would be able to see me play both parts on. See me play both parts on one banjo. You'll see me play both parts on 2 different banjos. But why? Let's see. So for up the neck, do you use it mostly 3-note chords? Yeah, Timbus. Most of the time I'm playing partial. Yeah, I'm using partial shapes. It's odd that I would ever hold a whole shape unless I'm just vamping. And then if I'm vamping, there's a well-beaten path on this old mountainside where I wander when I was a lad. Then I'm holding full shapes. So you definitely need to know the full shapes, but you don't need to know them until you need to know them. Does that make sense? SJ Woodworks, yeah, exactly. It's just like, what's a song I know? Can I play a break to it? And if I can sing it, yeah, I can play it. And it's just using the handful of stuff that I know. I don't know that much, y'all. Literally about 90% of what I know is in that 10 lesson series. That's the bulk of it. Oh, my thumb pick. It's a blue chip, JD Crow blue chip thumb pick, and then I use an Ernie ball Pickey picks. Let's see. Hey, thanks, Adam. Appreciate the kind words. Jeremy, play loud, man. I had a guy that come to me a long time ago. He says, I think something's wrong with my banjo. It's not very loud. He's playing. And I I said, let me see it. You know, I played it, and so he's playing it. He said, it's not very loud. You get lost in a jam. And then I played it. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with your banjo. You're not playing hard enough. So Jeremy, the solution is you got to pick harder. You got to play louder. There's not a tip. You know, you just have to play harder and louder. Blue chip thumb pick came from blue chip picks. It's complicated. So Dottie, so never in a million years did I expect folks would go absolutely, well, I don't even have a nice word to put with it, but they went crazy in a bad way about my Unholy cover. And I'm like, it's just a song, and it's no worse. I mean, so the song is about a guy that's cheating on his wife, and he's going to a strip club or whatever kind of club to do it. And I'm thinking, well, that's such a bluegrass theme, you know. It's such a normal theme in music in general, and in life. People cheat, spouses cheat, and not all spouses, but in general, there are people that are married whose spouses cheat, and in bluegrass, it's all the time, and people went nuts. And I'm thinking, I really didn't know why. And it's like, well, it's because the title's Unholy, and it's like, well, there's nothing holy about cheating. Seems like it's appropriately titled. So it was really weird to me, Dottie, that folks just really got bent out of shape about it. You know, it's I remember the Satanic Panic of the '80s, and it's like, well, you know, this is just a song. So I had a good time doing it. Loco Joe, dude, it's like the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever. Like with standard strings, F is real comfortable. The tension doesn't change a whole lot. Down to E, it gets a little sloppy. But like for me to go down to D, and I can go all the way down to, what's below D? C? I can go all the way down to C without a whole lot of weird, it doesn't get too weird. So yeah. Whereas my M5, it's like laying right over there. So Dottie, I don't know if I may have transcribed that. I don't know. I'll look and see. I may have already put it out there. I don't know. I'll check. If I haven't, I probably tabbed it. Derek, dude, how are you, man? If y'all are following Derek and Banjo, you need to follow Derek. I think, Derek, how old are you? You're 12, and he's just killing it. He's just killing it. Do I have go-to licks for chord transitions like C to D to G? I know. Not really. I just kind of do it. No actual lick. Or from E to A to B minor. And then B minor, where the heck is that? So. You know, it would depend on how many measures of each, but no, I don't think I actually have any. I guess I don't think that way. I mean, I I don't. I just kind of make it happen. Jeremy, I set each banjo up very similarly, but each banjo, you know, needs a little different setup to get the sound that I'm after. And but yeah, sometimes I will set them up different. I've got this one set up fairly loose just for because I keep it tuned so low. How often do I do live? I have no idea. I was not even going to do a live stream today. That was not in the plan when I woke up this morning. But, you know, as the day went on, I thought, well, I haven't done a live stream on YouTube in forever. It's time to just do some Q&A. So here I am. All right, that's bugging me. I gotta check my intonation, y'all. Here, let me bend this down, y'all. Oh, no, that ain't gonna work. All right, maybe I'm back. Sorry about that. So my intonation is weird. So maybe it's not as weird as I thought. I'm close. It's a little sharp. So. All right, I think I can live with that. Do I know anything about the banjo competition at Smithville? Yes, Derek, I do. Hang on. I'll be right back. Here we go. Hey, here I am. So now I'm back. Sorry about that. Derek, yeah, I know a little about it. They also, so here's the deal. They have a couple of contests. So they have one for kids, and that way you're not there competing against folks like Jeremy Stevens and Joey Gibson and Trevor Holder. But if you want to compete against those guys, that's totally cool, and you should. You should play in the adult. You should play in the adult event, but also play in the kid event. The first time that Trevor went to Smithville back forever ago, 2013, 14, whenever, I don't exactly remember when he went, he competed in the youth division and won. And you're playing every bit as good as Trevor was at that point. So definitely go do that. It's a lot of fun, and you'll meet a ton of folks. Smithville's huge, man. You need to do that. Nick, so the roles can be confusing, but if you're trying to learn them all at once, yeah, it's even going to be more confusing. Learn one thing at a time. Don't try to learn all the roles. There are people on the internet that will hand you a big sheet of paper with 100 different roles, and they tell you got to know all of these. And that's bull. You don't. You could literally play your whole life on the banjo with 2 roles, and you would be fine. So learn one at a time, and when you need a new one, then learn a new one. And that's kind of the way I structure my lessons, is I teach you one thing at a time, not everything at once. And you're not going to just be able, here's the thing, y'all, you're not going to be able to just do it. It takes effort. You have to practice. You know, it's not like breathing. And there's nothing I can tell you to make you able to do it. You have to work for it. You know, I've never met anybody that could just ride a bicycle. You had to practice. I mean, it may come easier for some folks, but the reality of it is you still have to figure it out. All right, Dwayne, thanks for stopping in, man. Derek, yeah, you can totally compete in both. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you play guitar or mandolin or anything else. Surely you may play a little guitar, but you can compete in every division. I know you play flute. I don't know if you could get away with it, but they have an open category where you can play pretty much anything you want to. So you could go up there and you could play something on the Native American flute if you wanted to. Would be, I mean, I don't know how it'd be received, but it'd be fun as heck. Let's see. What song am I working on at the moment? I, I, I don't even know. I have no reason at the moment to be learning a particular song. Now, sometimes like a band that I would be playing with would say, hey, we're going to start doing so and so, then that's when I might actually work on a song. The main things that I work on is still fundamentals, still techniques, still the same stuff that you should be working on. Ukulele? What about ukulele? Yeah, you can play ukulele in the Smithville Open Division, whatever they call that. Derek, yeah, you could totally do that, dude. You could play, you know, you could play in the guitar contest too. I think they might even have a finger style. They probably have a finger style division if I remember correctly. It's been a couple of years since I went to Smithville. Yeah, question and answer. I'm answering questions and making banjo noise. Uh, are there any good licks to learn that you could play with a bunch? Wait, are there any good licks that you could play in a bunch of settings? I play everything I know in any setting that I wind up playing in. I play occasionally. I play, or did there for a while. I was playing with a little country band here local, and all the licks that I know, I use them everywhere. I don't separate them. Uh, GP fan, no, I will not tell you what the most useful roll is. That's like, what is the most useful tool in your toolbox? There's not a right answer for that. And so what you need to be doing is you need to be doing, so here, just, I'm on a sales pitch here, and it'll cost you nothing. So it's really not a sale, it's just a pitch. Go do my beginner bluegrass banjo series. Just do it. There's 10 of them. It won't take you that long. They're all less than 15 minutes apiece. So go through those lessons. If your attention span is way shorter than that, I have a bluegrass banjo in a minute series that you can do as well. And they're out there in my playlist on my YouTube channel page. So go do those. No, there's not a roll that you should be most proficient at. You should be proficient at every roll that you encounter. Woco Joe, power drill. Man, I could put some picks on a drill. Derek, cool, man. So I didn't know you were using the Ernie balls. That's cool. Glad you like them. Unfortunately, here's the thing. Well, you know, yeah, when you bought them, I don't know. Do I have some handy? No. When you bought them, you know, you wound up with a pack of them, and they do wear out. That's the only downside to the Ernie balls is they will wear out. They'll get a little burr, and they'll after you played a lot, they'll get burred and sharp, and then they'll catch on the strings, and so that's when you toss them and get a new set. But they're cheap. So Frankie, no, I always use the Ernie balls. I don't switch back and forth between brands of picks. This is what I'm used to. I would, yeah. There's no good that can come from swapping back and forth between different sets of picks. So this is totally what I use. Tom asks, what do I think about tab for learning? Tom, when you learned to talk, did your parents teach you to read first? Did your parents make sure that you could read and say, okay, you got to read. Okay, now we'll work on talking. It's not the way you learn to talk. It's probably not the best approach to learning to play. Music is something you hear. It's not something you see. It's something you hear. And what you play, you will play what you hear. And it's important to be able to play what you hear, not what you see. No one ever learned to be a painter painting by number. You learn to paint by painting, and you learn to play by playing, and it's going to train your ear. I don't have a problem with folks that use tab to learn to play by ear. I mean, maybe you got a little bit of a tab. So a lot of times what I'll do with a private student is I'll teach them a song, and if there's a complicated lick, I might tab that, but everything up to it, probably not. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of tab to tab out something like that I think they might not be able to remember, but everything else, I want them to be thinking about the music. Yeah, Derek, that's the reason they come in a pack. It's totally worth it. Mike, I never polish. My finger picks get polished by playing. Who inspires me? Who am I listening to on a regular basis? I listen to Bluegrass every day. Usually my morning routine involves me, I get up, I shower, get ready. And during all of that time, I'm jamming Bluegrass, at top volume so everybody within 5 miles of me can hear it. But I'm just listening to a lot of different players. No one in particular that I'm listening to. Derek, this is my RK. It's the 85. It's the maple one, but I've got heavy strings so I can tune it down really low. Have I ever found a song too difficult or frustrating? Or do I man up or make it up? Everything I do is made up, man. I do not memorize other people's breaks. So I don't do that. I create my own breaks to songs. So when you say man up, to me that sounds like you're the one that's given up and not creating something new. You're just going to memorize somebody else's break. I never do that. I create my own breaks. And I say that with a sense of pride, really, because I want you to be doing that. When I was a kid, I went to see Raymond Fairchild, and he let me play his banjo. He hands me his banjo, and he's talking to my dad, and I'm standing over there playing the banjo, and I go to hand it back to him. I hand him the banjo, and he says, "You're doing real good, boy, but don't never copy nobody." Which was permission for me to start creating my own breaks instead of trying to memorize the stuff off the albums that I was figuring out. you start learning by ears, you start. You just pick a song. What I did is I took a, the way I learned is I took an album. There's one right there. And I would put it on the record player and I would play it. And then I would listen to the banjo part. And then I would try to hear that part in my head and try to identify what they were doing on the banjo. And I mean, that's, you got to start. And no, it's not going to be easy. It's going to suck. And the first few breaks that you work out for yourself, they're going to be complete garbage. But that's okay. You've got to go through that process. Eventually you get better at it. It's like when you start, when they teach you to write in school, none of the kids can write all that well, but the more you practice, the better you get. Your fifth string is too deep in the nut. What do you put under a string? How deep is too deep? And the fix to that is to repair the nut if it is truly so deep that it's causing an issue. Faust, if you've been through my beginner series, why can't you play those? Just saying. Take the pieces that I taught in my beginner series and stick it together and create something yourself. Example, you go to the store and you buy a box of Lego bricks, and it's Lego bricks that will build a boat. All right? And it's got instructions on building the boat. Can you take those Lego bricks and just build whatever you want and not build that boat? Dang right you can. So you can take the Lego blocks that I teach you in those first lessons, and you can play whatever you want. You just have to stick the Lego blocks together in the right order. How do you know what's the right order? Trial and error. You won't just be able to do it. You have to experiment. So yeah, you could play those without having somebody teach you those things. If you've been through my lessons and you've assimilated the information. Pretty Polly. I don't know, man. Probably. Look it up. I mean, it's really easy. You go up to the search bar and you type in Jim Pankey, Pretty Polly. If I did one, it'll be there. It's amazing. Search engine is just absolutely killer. Mike, hey man, how are you, dude? Did you practice today? Mike was in my he was in my banjo class all week. I tormented Mike for like the whole week, and he did great. So. Thanks, lady. And Faust, you can totally do it. Let me, like, he's a jolly good fellow. There you go. Let's look at that. That's a bad key for me. He's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny. And that's when you sing, so I would just play rolls through it. For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, no one can deny. So this is something that with my students that I did this past week. We took a day or a half a day and just wrote down chords to songs. I sang, some of them sang, and we just played rolls. And so that's the best place to start. Bjorn, I'd totally be up. I have to go to Atlanta to go to IKEA, which I just almost soon eat a bug as to have to drive through Atlanta to get to IKEA. And then once I'm at IKEA, again, I'd almost just as soon eat a bug as to wander through IKEA. But I'd totally do it if I could go down there and get a IKEA banjo. What a great idea. See you, lasses. Essential really depends, on what songs. So the question is, what tunes would I consider or classify as essential? It just depends. It depends on the geography. It depends on what tunes are being played. But however, like if you want to be a bluegrass banjo player, the bulk of what you're going to be playing is singing songs. You're going to be doing songs. So I recommend to just go ahead and download, buy, stream, however you get them, the Bluegrass Album Band recordings, and just get that all in your head. You got to be familiar with every one of those at some level. Flat and Scruggs stuff. Be familiar with the bulk of that library, and at least through the 40s and at least through the 50s. So all of that's super important. There's tons of it. I mean, so to say essential really depends. There's really, I don't think that there's really such a list, but listening to lots of classic bluegrass, if you're going to be a bluegrass banjo player, is highly important. Bjorn, yeah, it's going to be made of MDA stuff or whatever. But I'd totally go to IKEA for one. Get a flat packed banjo. Gary, yeah, I put a heavy set of strings on it so I could tune down to D and have the string tension be what it is when I play normal. So it's like 11, 12. No, it says 12. 14 or 16, 22, 25, I think, on the 4, and 12 again on the 5th string. So yeah, I've got it tuned low. GP, yeah, I play Clawhammer. I have an entire instruction series for Clawhammer banjo, and I got a bunch of Clawhammer lessons. Last night I went flying with a Wonder Woman. She could see right through me, way up high in the sky over the housing trees. She said, "Come on, don't be afraid." I thought she was kidding me. Made me feel so helpless, at the same time set me free. She was taking a break from fighting crime, taking a break with me. She may be the girl next door with you, but she's Wonder Woman with me. So jazz, by listening, I mean, you can usually, I mean, after you've played a bunch, you can kind of figure out sometimes if something is definitely not in standard tuning. And usually that's where it starts. You'll try to play along with it and go, okay, that's no good. And you put your capo on, you're still fiddling around trying to find it and you never find it. It's a good possibility it could be a different tuning. And sometimes that takes a while to get the hang of finding, but you get better at it. And you get better at it by trying different tunings and learning songs in different tunings. But your process is exactly right. You know, you'll sit and try to figure it out and you go, man, that's some crazy fingerings for the song. It's like, well, maybe it's in a different tuning. And so you just do a little detective work and you go, man, I'm having to hold this note all the time. And it's like everything, you know, I'm still gonna, well, maybe change that note, change the tuning on that one. You know, sometimes you'll hear something and it'll be in. So I'm in Sawmill. So, you know, sometimes things are in different tunings. Can you use detuners and have a capo on at the same time? You can, but it's a risk because the capo sometimes will cause the string to catch and it may not come back up to pitch. Or when you tune down, it may not go all the way down to pitch. So that's something to definitely consider. For intonation to go wonky with lower tunings? Yes, sometimes it is because the strings are designed to work the gauge based on the tension, based on the tuning. So if you get too low, then things get a little weird. And that's going to happen even on a nicer banjo. Tighten the head. Yeah, that's how I tighten my head. I tighten it until it breaks, and then I back off a quarter of a turn. I mean, I do use a fairly tight banjo head. what's a good way to not sound bad when jamming with friends? Just lots of practice at home. Lots of practice. Practice jamming at home. Use an app like Strum Machine, or do what I did and put the records on and play along with the recordings. So you practice the thing that you're going to do in public. So if I'm going to be jamming with friends, and I know that's coming up and I've never done that before, then I'm going to practice jamming at home with Strum Machine or recordings. Eric, I really don't know. I don't have a banjo with that Renaissance head, like a Bluegrass. I've got Renaissance on a couple of my open backs, but not, I've never tried it on a Bluegrass banjo. I know Tom Neckville was putting them on some of his banjos, and I tried them at one of the trade shows, and they were fine. You know, it's just you know, it's a banjo head, set it up. I think there might be a little darker in tone. I still prefer a frosted head. It's kind of my preference. Why frosted? I just like the sound of them. I mean, I've tried all kind of different heads, and the heads that sound best to my ear are the frosted ones. That's why, you know, my preference. I like the sound of them. So as far as bluegrass and skin, most folks have gone. Most folks are using a frosted head. Back in the day, skin head was the only choice you had. So a lot of those early recordings of, you know, Earl and a bunch of the other players, they were using a skin head. But skin breaks and they're a pain in the butt with a, you know, as soon as, like it's raining here today. So if I had a skin head on my banjo, it's raining, the humidity is high, then I would definitely have to tighten my head. And then if I forget to loosen it, or humidity's high, I can tighten my head. And if I forget to loosen it when the humidity goes back down, then my head's gonna break. They're a pain. So the fiber skin is definitely the way, or the mylar is definitely the way to go. Midden, you do not have to apologize for questions in a Q&A stream, so that's totally cool, man. No, bluegrass players never play fretless. Always, I mean, maybe somebody does, but all the standard bluegrass players, we like our frets. Johnny Connolly doesn't play bluegrass. So there's that. Midden, just like everything else, you practice. You're not going to just be able to play fast. You're not just going to be, it's just not going to just happen. You have to work at playing fast, and you just have to take your time and build speed. So when I was in college, I could sprint. I was a good sprinter, and I could run a really good 100-meter sprint. But I couldn't always. I had to practice. And even like when I went out to the track, I had to warm up before I could go fast. So same with banjo. It takes time. You have to just work at getting faster. Incrementally, it's not something that you can just do. So many people assume that if they know it here, they'll be able to do it here. And that's not how it works at all. Profile, no you don't. No you don't. Maybe half that. We don't count bluegrass time that way. So your tempo is going to be half of whatever you're calling it. And I've yet to do a video to explain it. But in bluegrass, we count the beats when the bass player plays. So in an alternating roll, even though it's 4/4 time, if I had to go, so that's 1, 2, 1, 2, not 1, 2, 3, 4. So half your 320, which would be 170, which is way faster than you'll ever need to play it. Who would you suggest listening to develop melodic runs? Bill Keith, Bobby Thompson, Jack Hicks, some of the older Butch Robbins stuff. There's just tons out there, but definitely Bill Keith. Find the stuff he did with Bill Monroe. And Derek's right. The trick is you practice as much as possible. Gary says, I can play all day in my living room, but play in front of people, especially the first time, I'm a nervous wreck. The way you get over that, you just play in front of a lot of people. You just play a lot. Play for everybody that'll listen to you. It gets better. Play online. Do what I do, you know. Do a live stream. Dottie, yeah, I'm familiar with the Dead South, but I have never listened to any of their music all the way through. I mean, I've heard some of it, but it's not something that really turns my crank. I mean, did I know it was 170? Because that's half of 320. Or 3, whatever you told me. 340, whatever. 160. Whatever you told me it was half of that. And I probably did bad math. Jazz, you're just going to have to sit and practice those rolls. Mike, man, I just whenever the mood strikes. Now, I will do fairly regular live streams on TikTok, but my YouTube lives are just, I don't do them a lot. I get an itch, and after doing y'all's class all week, it was just like, yeah, let's do a live stream. Yeah. Because obviously I haven't taught enough banjo in the past week. Ryan, I am in D. My third string and fifth are D. So D, A, D, F sharp, A. So Laura, I did a live, it's live. I taught a week-long class. What, Mike, it was 5.5 days, 6 days at John C. Campbell Folk School in Brasstown, North Carolina. And how good do you have to be? It's a beginner class. I mean, you could have just got your banjo. Class starts on Sunday night. You could have got your banjo that day. You would have been fine. Midden. So an old song that I play is Banjo, and it's a Stephen Foster song. But I do a lot of other stuff too. Okay, so y'all know what David just said, that Derek practices 3 or 4 hours a day minimum. I guarantee he's playing more. I hear Derek regularly, and he's practicing way more than that. Bjorn, yeah, I messed with some classic style stuff years ago, but nothing. I don't have anything in my arsenal. Derek, it's the J.D. Crow. It's the J.D. Crow is the one I like. Laura, go to folkschool.org. Folkschool.org. They'll have all kind of stuff there. song do I always struggle with? I don't know if it's a song so much, but there's certain techniques that I struggle with from time to time. Any single string stuff, but the reason I suck at single string, the reason I stink at that is I don't practice it. You know, if I were to spend a week just doing single string stuff, I would probably see an improvement, but I don't. And that's the reason I'm not any good. I don't practice it. So Frankie, let's go, let's roll it back slowly. So right now I play about 2 hours a day. That's kind of my minimum. Sometimes I play more, 2 hours a day. Back when I was a kid learning to play, it was nothing to put anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day to practice, sometimes even more. But I'd say 6 hours a day was kind of the average. Now, yeah, I had other stuff that I had to do, but it did boil down to the fact that, you know, I got up before school. I could play banjo before I caught the school bus. And then as soon as I got home, finished whatever chores I had, which, you know, wasn't a whole lot, and I could get them done quick, then I'd play banjo until it was time for supper. I'd eat supper, and then I'd go play banjo, and then I'd have to go to bed, and then I would still practice banjo until Dad hollered at me to make me quit. Can I play the Crawdad song? I can. Let's see. How much do you grow your nails for the enter? Bjorn. So here's my nails now. I'm sorry, they're a bit dirty, but I've been working today. But that's about the max that I like to keep them. I can let them get a little longer, but I'd just rather them not be very long. Just as soon as I start feeling them against the string, I start nipping them off. But I don't cut them real short. I kind of like them. Let's see. Favorite festival? You know, I really like SPBGMA. It's in Nashville. It's always Groundhog's Day weekend, or the weekend right before it, in Nashville at the Music City Sheraton. It's indoors. It's great. Derek will attest to that being a good festival. I think he will. I like it. Crawdad song is one of those tunes that's really good to be able to sing it first. So, you get a line and I get a pole, honey. You get a line and I get a pole, babe. You get a line and I get a pole. We'll go down to the crawdad hole. But you know, you don't catch crawdads with a pole. But anyway, and then you start doing rolls. You get a line, I get a pole, honey. You get a line, I get a pole, babe. You get a line, I get a pole. We'll go down to the crawdad hole, honey, babe. And then if you wanted to do a break, then you just kind of have to noodle around. So that starts on that. You get a line, so I would slide to that. You get a line, and I get a pole, honey. Tried to pick a banjo break to that song. It's just part of the process. Difference between practice and playing. Yeah, you know, that's um, practice is doing things that you're not good at. Practice is identifying licks that need work and spending time doing that. But also playing is playing, and practice should be play, and you should be able to gamify any of it. But everything you play is practice because it's reinforcing good habits and it's polishing and you're getting better. But definitely spend a lot of time working on things that you're not good at. Hey Mark, I didn't want it either, dude. But it's a rabbit hole, and if you're not a good time manager, it's definitely a time suck. But you know, and then my live streams they're not as friendly as they are here. They're a little more. I'm a little more caustic, but and I realize that, but it's but it's kind of fun. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Hey James, as far as Yates banjos, yeah, they're fantastic, man. Good stuff. Derek, did you get a new banjo, or are you still playing your Gold Star? Yeah, Huber's great, man. Uh, I like Steve's banjos. Another good maker, somewhat affordable, is Hatfield. Look at Arthur Hatfield stuff. Let's see, what could I play for y'all? A good tip for memorizing scales is just memorize your scales. There's no tip, man. You just have to. But I don't practice scales. I mean, I can do a scale, but I don't practice them. I mean, I found no real benefit to that. I just practice playing the songs I want to play. Which Huber did you get, Derek? All right, while Derek's answering, I'm going to play a song here. What am I going to play? Alrighty, people. Hey, it's been good. It's been fun. Oh, Derek, cool, man. I can't wait to play it. We'll catch you somewhere. Maybe I'll get to pick it. Love to hear it. All right, picks are off. Gonna hit the button if I can see the button. All right, y'all behave. We'll see you next time.